Alright, it's probably a little loud. Here, I'll just turn the park washer off. So, anyway, so this is the outside gear. I just wanted to show you here. This is the springs that basically hold the pistons, which will be behind there with those bars that we had. And these is what keep the clutch, if you want to call it, away when the overdrive is not engaged. And then the pressure pushes against these springs to engage the overdrive. Now they're kind of fairly rough on the top. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I guess both sides are like that. So, but yeah, we'll take that a bit more apart. But I just wanted to show you that while I was in the process of getting the rest of the gunk cleaned up off this thing. Okay, just some more close-ups. So there's where the clutch pad's bad. Alright. There you can see the planetary gears. And I'm looking for little notches right up here so I can line them up. Should find them later. There you can see the unidirectional clutch, the outer gear. Again, sun gear is in the center of that. Now, one thing I found that was interesting, so I got this in the cleaner right now, is in the bottom of the sump of this thing, it is full of black, probably clutch plate remainder stuff. There you can see the springs. Right there, you can see the little activation lever with the solenoid moves. And here you can see the accumulator spring in the background there. You can see the oil pump here from the front. Pistons, and again, we'll just, you can see all the black stuff coming out there. We'll just let that clean for a while before we go on to the next step. Alright, now let's take the springs out so we can see them here. I'll put them in a little cup here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They all look identical. And then again, those just push in there. And then they push against the backing plate of here. Now let's take off what they call the drain. It's a little bit bigger than 11/16 inch, but it's already loose. So should be just a filter and then two little magnetic things. So there's the plug. Put that in a little container here. And now we're going to need a little hook to get these other things out. So there's one magnetic ring. There's two there actually. Interesting. And then we'll just get some tweezers here. And we'll just pull the screen out if we can. There we go. There's the screen. Now I'd cleaned this before, but it's got some more black gunk in it. And guess where that's from? That's from the bad filter. Now down in the bottom, this must be another magnetic. There we go. We can get at that from the inside. So there's one of them. Should be another one too. Yep. Well, this is going to be fun to get back in. Just look. There we go. And there's the other one. So two in the bottom, two in the top. Other thing you can see here, of course, is the little arm that moves. And you can now see that over here. So let's see if you can see the little pin. There we go. See how it moves up a little bit. That's the little operating valve right there. There's a spring and a ball in that. So we'll take that apart next. And that's right underneath there. Oh, there's something moving in here. What is it? what that is. It sounds like that's the accumulator piston. Interesting. Anyway, we'll get on to the next thing. Maybe we'll take the, no, the pistons are just supposed to pull out, so we'll see. I'll put a little cloth there. Fit in there. Just turning, and I think we're going to be successful. Come on. See, it's most of the way out. I just don't want to scratch this if I don't need to. So close. Let's try this one. See if I can. There we go. All right, so I just have an O-ring on it. Stuck in there good though. So the ring must be sealed pretty good. That's one. And let's see if we can get that one up. Let's see, go oil behind those things. Oh, there we go. They look like they work together. So there you can see what they look like. Okay, get the pistons out. Of course, these are just full of oil. There we go. Now, there's the oil pump. And maybe we'll take the little valve out next. Get this here. And that interesting clunk we have in there. I think that's the, must have something to do with the accumulator. I wonder if the piston is totally loose in there. That would be very interesting. All right. Let me go investigate the size of this wrench. All right. Turned out to be a 5/8 wrench. Got it loose. Just pull this off. So this is where that valve is. And I just showed you before that you can move up and down. Again, I'm pretty sure this is where you would put your pressure gauge onto if you want to see stuff now. So there's the plug. And then you get a little spring. There's a spring. And then get my tweezers here. And we're going to find a little plug. There's the plug. And then we got a ball in there. So let's see if we can get the ball to come on my hand. Here's the ball. Okay, so there's the washer that was around there. And then there's the ball that just came out of there. Now, all we have left now is the plunger. And you know, with the little arm over here. And now there's no spring on it, so we'll see if it'll fall out. There it comes. Come on. There it comes. All right. And then that's the little piston that's in there. There's a little hole in it at the very top. You can see that there's a little hole. Let's see if I can rotate it so you can see it. See it? I don't think it's focusing. There's a little hole in the top there to make sure that's clean. There, all done. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Excuse me. We still have that little rattle up there. It sounds like it's coming from this part. Can't see anything moving there. So it must be at the top here. So, well, I'll go find how big this monstrous wrench is, and we will be back. All right, 1.5 inches. Let's get that on there. Moving. We'll see how successful we are here. This is a bit tight. All right, I'll loosen that off and I'll get back to you. All right, we're back. Well, I had to use the impact to get that loosened. And of course, as soon as I loosened it, that funny little sound went away, which is really weird, but turn that by hand now. So we're just threading this off the top, and inside there should be a big spring. So this is called the accumulator here. Okay, so there we go. Now these washers here, I had put those in, see if I could spruce it up. So, okay, and I think those may be what we're clanking down in there. So there's the big plug. Guess it looks safe to put stuff in it. It's just oil. Yeah. Spring, not broke or anything, and then there's a little rod. There's the rod, and then there's a piston in there. And they say there's a groove in it, so if I get a big chunk of wire, I should be able to pull that out. All right, so let me go find a piece of wire. All right, I found this little thing. It's for working on windshields. We'll see if that. So anyway, down in there, you probably can't see it, but there's a piston, and there's supposed to be little grooves in it that you can stick something in and pull something out. So remove. There we go. There it goes. Okay, there it is. Oh, that's interesting. That one's got a metal. It's got like, of course, there's all kinds of gunk in there, but it's got, it's like rings on a piston motor. There, and there was gunk in there, quite a bit of gunk. So that may be why we weren't pressuring up quite as good as we should have. Yeah, look at all that gunk in there. Okay, so that's the accumulator piston. Put that in. Stuff there. All cleaned out. And that just leaves the oil pump. And the oil pump says, I need a special tool. A little thing there. We'll work on this a little bit more, and then we'll get back to see what we need to do there. All right, so this is 15/16 to get the pump out. Right now we'll take this little thing, I think they call it like the pressure valve or something like that. Same thing. Ooh. I soon as it screws out. It's good. It's really tight. Anyway, let's take this out first to see what we get out of here. Again, we should see a spring, gasket. All right, so there's the plug. Great big thing. There's a washer. And our friend the spring. And a little plunger. And there should be a ball in there too. Yep. And you can see there's the ball. Little one. And then there's a special tool to undo that. Now let's see if we can get this. This is a 3/16. It's trying quite hard. I just don't want to bust anything. It's coming out. There we go. Go. All right, see there's a little pin in the bottom of that. There's a gasket here. Gasket. Now, it then says you need a Churchill tool. It looks like it's just a threaded piece in there. So I'll go dig around and see what I can find. All right, I got my high-tech tool here. So all I did was I took a 7/16 socket and ground two sides of it round and left two edges flat so that you can fit on the edge of here on the pump, and it wasn't very tight at all. It took like very little effort. So anyway, once that's loose, you can just spread that out. And this is the base of the oil pump. There you go. So there you can see the little plug. Goes back in there. All right, let's see what happens now. Now, last time we had just taken this plug out of the oil pump. Turns out that the thread for that plug is 7/16 fine thread. So we need to extract the pump out this way. It appears that there isn't any threads or anything like that. It looks like it just pulls straight out. So what I have is a little bolt here, this washer, and all I'm going to do is tighten this bolt out to basically, I'll thread it in here and then it'll pull this out. And we'll see if we got enough thread to do that. Threads in there good. Nut here is 11/16. Top is 5/8. And we should just have to tighten this down and see what happens. See if we can see this thing move. Yep, it's moving fine. And you can't see it too much, but I'm just basically pulling the collar down where the whole pump's coming down. All right, let's see where we're at here tonight. Set it off. And you can see here we moved this up quite a bit. You only can come another 1/4 of an inch, so we'll see how this.
How far I can do that with this method. And then I have another idea too. So this may be enough to loosen it up.
All right, so we pulled it out that far. Now, we'll just try a little tapping here. Go that way. And if I can't tap it out, I already have my plan too, and I'll show you what that is. Let's try this method first. Let's try twisting it and see if I can get it to work. Oh, I guess I'll have to go to the next one. We put the just the nut on here. We'll see if that's going to give us enough space to pull it through. In theory, there should just be an O-ring on here. To talk about, let's see where we're at. Oh, I see. So there's a bit of a bigger lip there. This doesn't fit. All right, so let me go get a bigger nut, and we'll see what happens next. One size bigger.
Just about there. So see now the plunger is way, way in there. I think when you put this one back in, it's like, there we go. Again.
See it out. Here's the O-ring now, you can see it. There shouldn't be much keeping that in now. Yeah, let's go get another one of those nuts. It looks like.
Yep, try that one. And this is what we need to use. So I could have got a longer threaded bolt, or if you won't want to keep it threaded rod and kind of, or you just keep making your spacer bigger. It's very easy now.
Oops. Bottom that one out again. Actually, maybe we'll get a bit more out of that. Let's see if I can. Nope. There we go. Beautiful. There you go. One pump. So you can see all there is an O-ring in here, and then this plunger goes down, and it covers this little gap here. A little gap there is where the oil goes in, And it pushes out here at the bottom, and then of course that's where the ball valve is. And everything spins okay here. And then you can of course look up at the bore where the pump went there. Everything looks okay. That's pretty much, I think, all that we need to take apart. It's we do have these bushings and stuff, but they look okay. So I think we got the bulk of it apart. And again, the fatal flaws that we have, further inspection. This is the brake plate, and you can see we have a nice crack right there. That crack looks like it's been there for a while. It's worn pretty good. And then the other flaw we have again then is on the brake cone, where we actually have a separation of the pad away from the there, and it's just broken. So 2 pieces needed. One of these, which we'll call it the cone clutch, and another one of these, which is the brake disc, if you want to call it, because it's got a crack. You can see it's cracked here where it gets nice and thin. Yeah, right there. So we'll see what we can find out. Everything's taken apart. I'll probably still do the speedo because it didn't come apart very good. And it doesn't turn very good. My speedo had quit. Oh, there it's turning. It's okay. But I have to get the end off the cable for that. So anyway, onwards. Just show you a bit more of the pump, because actually I didn't pull it all apart for you, but it comes apart there. And then there's the shaft there. So the parts to the side. And now you can see what the pump looks like.